Oh, hello everyone. Another unscripted edition is what I'm bringing to you today. My name is Irimiz Okbeoluwa Oni, and so this topic is something that I've really been giving a lot of thought to for some time now, and I would like to do it in two parts. I wouldn't want them to be too long, so basically we'll be doing them in two parts, and they're basically topic that I believe some of us too are probably giving some thoughts to at some point in time or the other. Okay, and yeah, is the battle over land. Okay, most wars are fought. In fact, somebody said 90% of the wars are fought over land, even though they were started by women. Okay, so but that's not the reason. It's not the women part that we are here actually. So basically, it is the battle over land, territories. So, like I said, this is an unscripted edition too. So they are just thoughts in my mind that I would love to share and hope it get some benefit out there to people, and it will help juggle some people's thoughts too, right? So there have been historical notes, especially from the Bible, of wars that are fought and fought and fought over landed properties in different territories, Bible-wise, and all of that. So we're going to look at why do people fight over land? You know, historically, most of people are farmers, peasants, animal husbandry. You know, if you look at the evolution of man, and you realize that mechanical farming is less than 300 years old, and people have been living thousands and thousands of years before that time. So most of the time, people survive and thrive where they have access to ocean, where they have access to rivers, where they have access to arable land. You know, so those are where people have survived and lived for many years, right? So it's and as the population of the world keep increasing, there have been reasons and causes why people need to expand, family needs to expand and move from shared resources to other locations. And these are some of the things that give birth to kings. These are some of the things that give birth to nations, territories, and apart from even colonial border drawing and all of those things. I mean, I'm talking about the ancient time and all of those things where they were just kings and territories and all villages, head of chiefs and all of those things. So there have been all these battles, there have been all these wars that are basically war over the landed resources and the things that are thereof. And the invention of fire, iron rod, natural resources, discovery of some of those things also aggravate the wars, make the wars become very common, because there are places that might not be good for farming, for feeding the expansion, people living and construction of houses, but they are rich in natural resources too. So these are some of the things that has expanded the war and the battle over land over the years. I'm just going to highlight, I'll start this discussion basically on from Bible. So, and this is not a religious teaching, but I just want to highlight some of the things that has happened and happening in respect of the battles over land. Number one is Canaan. I mean, if you look at the Bible, the Israelites have always been fighting wars. I mean, so at some point they were led by Joshua, and there were a series of wars to conquer the land of Canaan. Okay, and their claim was that the land, like I said, is not a religious. So their claim is that the land was promised to them by God. So there was a promissory note. Okay, so there was a promissory note that led to the war, and so this wars, of course, if you read the Bible, you remember the Jericho and the Ai War. So that's the battle of the land of Canaan, and also still in the Bible, look at wars with the Philistine. I mean, that one is more or less like the same Israelites who fought over the Philistines several times, as recorded in the Bible. The famous one was the David and Goliath one, and it was basically over territory too. You know, some of these were documented in Samuel, First Kings, Second Kings, Chronicles, and all of that. If you read the Bible, and all these battles were basically over land and territory. If you remember, there was a battle, the David and Goliath battle. You know, all of them were on a plain, a battlefield. Even the choice of where the battlefield is too is such that it speaks to where people locate their cities. Most of the time, a lot of people locate their city where they will have an advantage. It will not be easy for them to be invaded, right? There are countries that and cities even till now that are literally surrounded by walls, and all of these serve as natural barriers over the city, right? Some are in the coastal city. In fact, there are cities that I don't know whether some of us have seen some of these medieval cities that hills at the back and there's ocean in the front. So, and all those hills have lighthouses. So they can light up as soon as enemy invasion is coming. They'll just light up all those lighthouses. And the same lighthouses can see when battleships are coming from afar. Okay. So of course there are economic reasons too, but most of the time they are basically to cover their territories and their survivor, basically, ability to eat and all of those things. So even some of the battles that we are going on in the world right now, the wars that are being fought right now are basically spillover of some of these Bible ages war, and yeah, for similar reasons too. It's strange enough that we in this age and time there's still the Israeli-Gaza war. Imagine, Israel is still fighting. They've been fighting thousands and thousands and thousands of years, and they are still fighting today, okay? Of course, the other wars are the war of the Amalekite and the Moabites, and, the same countries were occupying the land very close to Jordan River, right? And they just keep fighting each other, right? So at some point, it was Israel that was now fighting the Amalekites, right? So, and because there were some guys that were nomads, right? Like we have them, the Boko Harams. They moved their so-called herdsmen rather. So they moved their sheep from one location to the other, and looking for greener pastures. And it was even one of those things that it was referenced in the scripture in the Bible that about the fact that some of these animals will hit up a green pastures and left it there, thinking that some of these places will grow naturally, and some of these green pastures were actually planted for some people to survive. Okay, so those are the things that causes territorial wars and battles and all of that. Okay, so the war with the Midianites too, the same war was caused because of River Jordan, because of access to River Jordan. If you look at the world right now too, you realize that Nile River has caused a lot of modern war just because everybody wants to have access to the Nile River because of the survival of their nation. Okay, so different wars. So let's quickly look at reasons why some of these wars do happen. Like I mentioned, the Promised Land. It was said the land will flow with milk and honey, and basically Israel was carrying a promissory note up and down, and they are ready to kill, they were ready to take over because of the promissory note that God gave to them, right? And also for territory expansion, the people keep increasing, and at some point the city becomes choked. And even remember, most of the cities then were gated communities, right? So, and they have kings. So as soon as those cities become choked up, the people start revolting and all of those things. So those were some of the reasons for expansion. The other reasons were religious beliefs, so-called holy wars, jihad, and all of those things. They just believe that this place belongs to them. Some of them are because of political controls or power. The king, those days there were just two seasons: the seasons of famine and the seasons of war. So at some point you have to just be doing something. So some of them just want to get more power, respect, and they believe that if they don't conquer other places, they can be conquered, right? So some of those reasons. Some were resources. Some areas are more fertile than the others. In fact, there was a particular war because of ability to have access to the fish of the coast of that city, and they went into war. So these are some of the reasons biblically that wars have been started and wars were fought. And the objective of this unscripted edition was basically to help us think. So because sometimes when you access the reality of now in out of context of what has happened before, and because most of us probably are watching these are religious people, because the same stories of war in the Bible, because I'm a Christian, I can relate more to that, as most of them are the same stories of war in the Quran and other religious texts, right? So we need to always pay cognizance to the fact that some of these things are just being repeated over and over and over and over and again. So the part two, I'm going to be talking about it in the modern era, right? Not modern, but just to look at histories of war and battles over land. So anybody that is going to real estate too needs to have this at the back of their mind. I see this same land, some people have died, blood has been shed, and there are spiritual implications to some of these things. And that's why I always tell people that real estate is not just buying and selling. There are spiritual connotation to most of the things that we do in real estate. Okay, I hope this is not scary, and I just need to share this so that we can have a better understanding of the business that we are going into. So my name still remains Okpe Oluwa Oni. Don't let anybody tell you that you cannot win. You can win. So play big so that you can win big. Bye for now.